Welcome, everybody. I want to talk about processed foods and the importance of eliminating them from your diet if you're serious about getting truly healthy, radiantly healthy. Because processed foods, ladies and gentlemen, the body doesn't have a processed foods deficiency. It doesn't require them. Your body doesn't lack all of the garbage additives and, all the excessive amounts of stabilizers and chemically adulterated byproducts and all this other garbage in the processed foods. Again, your body does not have a recommended daily intake allotment for processed foods. You do, however, need vitamins and minerals and trace constituents and pigments and protein and amino acids, fats, carbohydrates, but you do not need processed foods. Processed foods undergo a process whereby the processing, usually 9 times out of 10, renders the end product, the food that you're going to eat, nutritionally unstable and inadequate. So if you eat a lot of processed foods, what you're doing essentially is you're eating a lot of empty calories. You're eating you're eating a food that has excessive amounts of calories, but it doesn't come with the dense nutrition that your body needs to remain healthy. And your mind needs nutrition as well, you guys. What you'll find is that real food, real nourishment actually brings health to the body. It animates the body with vigor and strength and fortitude. But it also does the same thing to the mind. So, most people who experiment, or, let's put it this way, a lot of times when people go from eating processed foods their whole lives, when they start to actually put real foods into their system, they notice a huge increase in their cognitive abilities. They notice a huge increase in their mental clarity. They also notice a huge increase oftentimes in their strength, in their stability, their emotional stability. This is a very, very good thing to reanimate the body with vigor, to reanimate the mind with vigor. So processed foods, you guys, I've been there, I've done that. I'm coming from a standpoint of total experience with this subject. I know what it's like to be on both sides of the fence. I know what it's like to eat processed foods the majority of my life, and I know what it's like to be on the other side of the fence where I've given up pretty much all processed foods. I don't eat wheat. I don't eat flour. I don't eat corn. I rarely even eat soy nowadays. The most processed food, you guys, and I'm just going to be completely transparent with you, the most processed food that I still consume is the occasional block of tofu. And usually nowadays I don't even cook it because I don't want to heat it with the oils and season it. Occasionally I'll have some uncooked tofu, but even tofu out of a tofu packet, even though it seems uncooked, ladies and gentlemen, it's actually already been cooked. Most people don't know that. But I'll take some tofu every once in a while and I'll put some vinegar on it and some seasonings and eat it with like a tomato or an avocado. But even that I don't really do anymore. But I know what it's like to eat a majority of my dietary caloric intake from processed foods. Again, I did this for the majority of my life. I was eating a lot of boxed macaroni and cheese, a lot of processed sugar, processed salts, candy, boxed mashed potatoes. My mother would go out of her way to make me home-cooked meals, so I did have some legitimate food coming into my system. But aside from that, I didn't know how to take care of myself, and I didn't really care for the first half of my life, or for the first 20 years of my life. It wasn't until the end of high school, when I was 18, that I started to even moderately I began getting really interested in health when I was in my senior year in high school. But it even took an additional 2 or 3 years until I started to really practice health. And then I became an alcoholic. So it took me a while to get on point with my health, but now that I'm here, it feels so good. And I've been here for quite some time, but it's just important that we really question what we're consuming. This is something that so many people don't do enough of. You've got to really question what you're doing, ladies and gentlemen. And I know that I know some people have commented and said that you've just got to let go. Life isn't about being so structured, and life isn't about being so critical of oneself, but that's not how I approach life, ladies and gentlemen. I want to get the most out of life. I want to increase my lifespan prolongation, the potential of me living past 100. I really want to have a huge impact on the world, and I want to inspire people. And for what I've realized is that it's very difficult to do that without a legitimate level of health within your blood, within your body, within your mind, within your bones, within your soul. It's hard to inspire people to uplift their health and to be motivated and to be inspired if you haven't reached that point, ladies and gentlemen. So food plays a huge pivotal role in our well-being because food can either uplift or it can destroy. It can also keep you at a point of stasis within your body. It can keep you at a point of like a plateau. It can keep you, there's so many different things that food can do to you. But from a honest perspective, it appears that food is either uplifting people's health or destroying it. There are some people, however, within that middle bracket where they're kind of just moving through life kind of in a mediocre bracket between health and a lack of health. So again, I'm not saying that eating the wrong foods is going to kill you quickly. It's a kind of a slow kill system, but you have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that your decisions about your diet, what you're putting into your mouth and digesting, is affecting your outcomes tomorrow. Always remember that input equals output, and your dietary choices today are going to affect your health tomorrow. So if you accumulate, if you eat a lot of junk food regularly, you may not see the negative consequences immediately, but chances are they will build up over time and you will pay the price for it. It's just as easy to put the right foods into your system as it is to put the wrong foods into your system, but we have a subconscious program to think that it's difficult to achieve great states of health, and that's what keeps many people back. I'm probably one of the first people that you've heard say that health can be very easy. It doesn't have to be difficult. In fact, health is very simple. Living a healthy life and eating the right foods is not difficult at all. You need to break through that programming. And there is a programming. Think about it. To tell the average person who eats a lot of junk food that, you've got to start eating more healthy foods. And they'll usually shrug, and a lot of people will fight, kick, and scream to defend their current unhealthy patterns. But that just shows you how addicted they are and how hopeless they are in regards to growing out of their patterns. It's because they think that it's going to be difficult or non-enjoyable. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that living a healthy lifestyle can be just as flavorful. It is just as exciting, because it's exciting because once you start putting the right foods into your system, you realize that you're actually fueling yourself, and that's what food is supposed to be. You see, food is not designed to be a recreational, a habit, so to speak. Food is supposed to taste good, don't get me wrong, but when you're eating foods for recreation that do not have any nourishment in them, you are just putting calories into your body and you're not able to assimilate much out of them, ladies and gentlemen. Sure, the body can make do with what you put into it for a certain amount of time. But it gets to a point where, you're eating all this processed food. It's lacking in essential vitamins, B vitamins, lacking in quality fiber, lacking in, healthy fats. Those things over time, what you're doing is when you eat foods like that consecutively, you're just slowly creating deficiencies because the body does have a daily requirement for certain fats and healthy, amino acids and things like that. So I hope that makes sense. I want to try to keep this one under 15 minutes. So I'm here to tell you that health is easy. It's not difficult. It's just as, anyone can afford it. If you're spending, $200 a month on groceries right now and you're eating an unhealthy diet, you can do this. And a lot of people have more money than that to spend on groceries. But I want to let everyone know, regardless of your budget, you can find a way to make this work. Don't give in to hopelessness. Don't give in to thinking that you have to eat garbage foods just because you may not have a adequate amount of money or how would I explain it? The Spirit humbled me years ago, ladies and gentlemen, and showed me that, I went through a lot of financial struggles, and I'm still not a millionaire by a long shot, but when I was younger, I had a lot of financial struggles, and I was making close to no money. And what Spirit showed me was that I can be just as healthy with a very little amount of money as someone who has a ton of money. And I've said this in recent videos, in previous videos, excuse me, and I'll say it again, but just because you have lots of money doesn't mean you're making smart decisions with your health. Most of the wealthy people I know, significantly wealthy, they don't know how to feed themselves. And in fact, oftentimes when people make a lot of money, they end up spending it on lavish kind of meals and things like that, where they'll eat out every night and eat food that is low quality. It's expensive as hell, but it's low quality. And that's the type of the food bracket or energy within most of the foods when you go out to eat. It's low quality food often. So even though I was spending about $100 to $200 a month on my own personal grocery intake when I was making less money, and sometimes it was even less than that, I was able to find out that I could still buy wholesome foods. I was eating a lot of like organic beans and organic rice, oftentimes as well. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't organic, but I made it work. You see, just because you have a lot of money and just because you buy expensive foods doesn't mean that they're healthy. And just because something, I was buying non-organic rice and beans doesn't mean that I wasn't achieving great states of health, because I was intermittent fasting. And I still do that, but because I was on a budget at the time, I was in kind of a survival mode. I was trying to get things to work with my budget, and I told myself, okay, I'm going to fast because I can't afford to eat all day. And because I'm eating not the best quality foods, they're not, again, non-organic rice and beans and things like that. If I fast, I could enter a state known as autophagy, which is when the body recycles unnecessary materials from itself, and this is induced from fasting. So I was fasting not only to achieve great health, but to deal with my lack of funds, because fasting is free. And at the same time, I was canceling out any negative effects from, any arsenic in the rice and things like that. And I've moved away from that. I don't eat carbohydrates anymore to the extent that I used to. I used to eat carbohydrates like an absolute addict. I currently eat a low carbohydrate diet, and I feel so much better. And I've been doing this for quite a while now. But I learned a lot from my early experiments. I learned a lot from my early struggles. And one of the things that I learned is that, you can still eat healthy on a budget. And I would like bike around my neighborhood and knock on people's doors and ask them if I could have fruit off their trees, pears and peaches and tangerines and plums. It was so much fun. When I look back at my life, it's like when I was struggling the most, I was really demonstrating some really interesting and when I look back on it, it's like, wow, I really did something creative when I thought I had hardly nothing. And I love myself for doing that. We've got to look at ourselves and we've got to love ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to do some videos on self-love, but it's like, wow, I was struggling so much with my finances. I had anxiety issues, depression issues, severe depression issues. But I still got my ass out of bed and got on my bicycle for like 14 hours a week, and I got sunshine on my face, and I biked around town, and I, made contact with people to the best of my ability, even though I had anxiety issues. And I'm not going to lie, there were times where I kind of commandeered fruit from people's front yards, but it was all with good intentions. But I would knock on people's doors and get their lemons and their oranges and, again, the figs. I don't know if you just heard that, but my dog farted. Yeah, that was you, Mirage. Oh, every once in a while I'll be recording a video and she'll fart on camera. Crazy dog. But do the best with what you can, ladies and gentlemen. If you actually, just try, you'll find out that Spirit opens up doors for you in unseen ways, and you'll do fine. You'll do absolutely fine. But I'm going to wrap this one up, you guys. I've kind of gone off on a few different tangents, and I wanted to keep this one under 15 minutes. So eliminate processed foods to the best of your ability. That's what I wanted to really stress. And, try to go for wholesome foods, foods that nature grows, foods that nature provides us, instead of things that have undergone excessive amounts of processing and packaging. Because oftentimes these processing procedures render the end product nutritionally insignificant. And now you're just eating a bunch of empty calories that don't really give your body the nourishment that it needs. And in this crazy world, In this matrix, in the underworld, here in this third density dimension, you need nourishment so that you can be the best version of yourself. Thank you for watching. I hope that my channel and my messages, my passion, you name it, can inspire you today to take better care of your health. There's nothing more important than taking daily steps towards greater health. Health impacts every part of your life, ladies and gentlemen. Physical, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, you name it. It addresses every part of our lives. Health is indeed the divine foundation that we need to have so that we can achieve the life that we want. This is Lord Ganesh, the remover of obstacles, and I hope that the obstacles in your life, if you have them, can clear, and that you can attain your heart's desire. I do indeed hope that we can achieve a greater state of being here in this world. We weren't designed to have to deal with all this insanity here in this world, and I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, that if we take greater steps towards our health and we envision a greater world, we can get closer to achieving that. So I just wanted to wrap this one up with a thank you, and until next time, peace be with you all.